All right, good morning, everybody. One of my friends from Yeshiva, he asked me, he texted me last night, this morning, about today being the anniversary of the end of the Six-Day War. People call it Yom Yerushalayim. So people say we should say Hallel on this day, and he asked about it. And he mentioned that Rav Hershel Schechter, supposing for the OU, the Shiva at Shiva Sbreni Yitzchak Tachanun, that he expressed his opinion that it is appropriate to say the Hallel today. So I answered as follows. I said, if one is davening by himself, as I had to do because I had some business this morning, so I had to get up early and daven. Even though we had minyan 8 o'clock, I had to daven at 6 o'clock to get to my appointment. And I would not say Hallel. It happens that I didn't say Tachanun either, because for two reasons. One is that it's Sunday, and in Zedachov, Kamarna, Kalev, other places, it's a minhag not to say Tachanun on Friday and Sunday. Some only omit Tachanun on Friday, and some are both Friday and Sunday. And if I'm with a minyan that's saying Tachanun, I'll say Tachanun. But if I'm by myself, I generally don't on a Friday or Sunday. Also, it's the week of Malchus, and there's a minhag, the weeks of Hod and Malchus, not to say Tachanun. Meaning in the Sphira, the 7 weeks, each of the 7 weeks corresponds to one of the 7 midos of the 7 lower Sphiros. So this is the week of Malchus, and so that's why this is what I'm reciting here. I'm not saying Tachanun. But I didn't say Hallel either. I remember one year I never said Hallel on Hayir that I can remember, but I did, I think, once or twice say Hallel on Yom Yerushalayim. Because to me, personally, it kind of never made sense to say Hallel for Hayir, for what they call Yom Ha'atzmaut. But as a younger person, it made sense to me that it appeared there was a miracle that happened the Six-Day War, and not really being that knowledgeable of the halachos of Hallel and so forth, and seeing certain people expressing their opinion that it's appropriate to do so, so I would recite the Hallel. I think I did it once or twice. I remember talking once to Professor Yeshayahu Leibovich's grandson of Shammai, who was an inmate in the prison where I was a chaplain 12, 13 years ago, and I mentioned this to Shammai, and he said that it's just the opposite to him, because Yom Yerushalayim represents him that Israel is subjugating another people. I don't really buy into this idea of Palestinian peoplehood. Most of the people who call themselves Palestinians are Egyptian or Jordanian, who just moved there because there were jobs available and things. There are very few who go back more than 3 or 4 generations in the Holy Land. And before the 1960s, they never called themselves Palestinian. They were British subjects. They were Ottoman subjects. There wasn't this idea with the Palestinian peoplehood. But also there wasn't an idea of Israeli peoplehood either. They're both kind of made up. In any event, so I know some people, they feel Yom Yerushalayim is worse than Yom Ha'atzmaut. I think they're both pretty bad, to be honest. But I can see why people would consider Yom Yerushalayim to be a miracle, as opposed to Yom Ha'atzmaut, which is it's actually the beginning of the war, is Hayir, not the end of the war. We don't celebrate the beginning of wars in Judaism. As opposed to, if one sees it appears to be a miracle of 6-day war, but the truth is, when you learn also the politics of what happened the Johnson administration at the time and so forth, they were under the impression that it would take about a week, that there would be a war. They weren't sure if Israel was going to provoke it or not, and it's really not that clear whether Israel provoked the war or not, although they claim that they didn't, but that Israel would win handily in about a week. It was always given. Were they Nevi'im? Were they prophets? No, this was just the political and military reality of boots on the ground at the time. There's a lot of euphoria, a lot of propaganda, and of course people were excited that since 1948 they couldn't go to Koisel, so now they could go to Koisel, and they could go to Hebron, they could go to other places, so that they couldn't go, but if before 1948 they could go. So what are you celebrating in 48 if you're celebrating 67? But anyway, this is neither here nor there. In the end, what I told this friend of mine was as follows. If you're davening by yourself, I wouldn't recommend saying Hallel, but if you're going to say without a bracha, if that's how you feel, if that's what your opinion is about what it's all about. If you go to a minyan, you do whatever the minyan does, but still I would say not to say with a bracha. Now, why would there be a difference with a minyan without a minyan? I'm saying halakhically speaking. So when it comes to Hallel on Rosh Chodesh, there's an opinion that you don't say Hallel at all without a minyan in Rosh Chodesh. Then there's an opinion you should never say a bracha on Rosh Chodesh at all, which is what the Sfardim follow. And then there's an opinion that you only say a bracha with a minyan, and many say it's only if it's actually like the main minyan in the shul. If there's like a second minyan, an ad hoc minyan, something, one would not say a bracha on Hallel or Rosh Chodesh in such a case. Again, to who the different opinions are. And it's my Zeta, the Chavos Yorer, who says that very interesting idea that it's only when it's the main minyan of a shul and not an ad hoc minyan that there is permission to say a bracha on Hallel on Rosh Chodesh. Still, nonetheless, I would say not to say a bracha on a Hallel on a day like this. It's problematic saying Hallel because the Gemara says that someone who says Hallel every day is a mechar from a gadif. Someone who says Hallel just for everything it's heretical. It's almost he's an apostate. So it's not so simple, this saying Hallel, but there's also an idea not to be parishman at Sibur. So if you choose to daven a minyan that you know they're going to say Hallel, it would be parishman at Sibur if you're not saying together with them. I don't think it's parishman at Sibur if they say bracha and you don't say a bracha, because if a Sephardi on Rosh Chodesh will go to an Ashkenazi minyan, he'll answer Amen to the bracha. Sometimes I even see the Sephardim who they'll ask the Ashkenazi to say the bracha in a Sephardi minyan, and everyone says Amen, but they don't say bracha themselves, even though by the Ashkenazim everyone says a bracha on the Hallel. So it's not parishman at Sibur if the Chazan says a bracha and you don't say a bracha. But it might be parishman at Sibur if you don't say Hallel when the Kehillah is saying Hallel. However, maybe you should think twice before you daven in a shul where they're saying Hallel on the 28th of Iyar and certainly on the 5th of Iyar or whatever, and then they play games with it. They make it the 4th, the 3rd, the 6th, the 7th. They play around with it a lot, but they almost never do it on a year. I don't know if they do the same thing with this one, with the Yom Yerushalayim. But anyway, I wouldn't go daven in such a minyan. And Ben Torah usually wouldn't daven in such a minyan, at least not on that day. Maybe you have, or you politely make it like you're going to the bathroom or something. You step out. It's not so bad either. Like the Kohanim will step out before laning, so they could call the Yisrael for the first Aliyah or something like that. So that's the way we do things. That's what I would say. And the same thing. If you're a person who's very into saying the Hallel on a day like this, and you want to say it in the shul, I wouldn't go to a shul where they're not. I remember there was I once saw a Hamish shul, a shtibel in Queens. So it was I went Badavka to daven there, so there wouldn't be any question about say Tachanun or whatever. And there was a chosin. It's almost like he got married Badavka in Sfira, but like before Rosh Chodesh, just so he should go daven in a Hasidic shul on Hayir, and so they shouldn't say Tachanun or something. Now I know say Hasidic. I mean, there's a Hamish shul, a Spinka Einikel. Not we're not talking about Boston. Boston Rebbe, I know he had an Indian that he would try to get that there should be a bris or something on Hayir in his shul. If he hears that a baby is born 8 days before Hayir, whatever, the 28th of Nisan, he would go out of his way to 28th, 29th, whatever it is. He'd go out of his way. He asked Chanach Teller once, who was a very famous speaker and author. He asked Rabbi Teller, I heard you're making a bris, please make it in my bris medrash. And he said, I already have someone else for Sandakos. He said, no, it's okay. I don't need Sandakos. I just need a bris in my bris medrash on this day. And he have to say here because he didn't want any machloikas. But the thing is, Chazon Ish says even if there is a bris, even if there is a chosin, which kind of a funny thing to get married during Sfira, even during Chodesh Nisan, whatever it is, or whatever other reason, not to say Tachanun. He said you should say Tachanun a year. Chav Ches, that was after the Chazon Ish was already not in this world anymore. That became something. I know people claim that there's something to Riyah Kodesh, which a lot of these things are dubious and some are Mizuyev, but in any event, this is what we have. But I think L'man HaShalom, if you do wind up in such a minyan, or wherever minyan you're at, you should follow whatever hanhoga they're following in the minyan, and maybe make an informed choice when you go to minyan. It's going to be something that you might be uncomfortable with, one way or the other. I'm not necessarily pushing the non-Zionist or the anti-Zionist agenda, even though that's kind of where I'm personally coming from. I recognize that there is diversity, and I would say it like that. Don't be Persian at Tzibur, whatever minyan you go to, but maybe it's better if let's say there's only one. If you're very passionate about that you're anti-Zionist, and the only minyan that's in town where you live is one where they're saying Hallel on one of these types of days, maybe just don't go to minyan that day. It's not the most important thing in the world to go to minyan, especially if it's going to lead to some kind of machlokes or something, or or negative feelings and so forth. And I guess maybe the other way too, if you're very strongly pro-Zionist and the only minyan by you is where they're going to say Tachanun on this day, and it's going to make you upset, and you're going to get angry, and this and that. Maybe also it's better not to go to the minyan. The only thing is, what if you have a yard site? What if you're a chiyuv? What if you're the 10th of the minyan? You have to think these things out. Talk to your own Rebbe. Talk to your own Rav. Figure out how to keep shalom. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and be respectful. Be quiet. Don't make a scene, and you do what you got to do. And if it means that while they're saying Tachanun or while they're saying Hallel, you step out to go to the bathroom or something, that might be a way to do it. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and see you later.